Hello, welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in and sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome. Welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness. And the highest levels of love light. I'm just going to go into a little flow. Here we go. I'm at a stoplight right now. And the space of the energy has shifted. The alchemical container in which we sit within, the alchemical entrapments, so to speak, the enchantments, that which has held our attention span, that which is spanning out in the seeking, and I'm hearing seeking you shall find. I'm seeing this as what I'm saying, all these words can be taken either from one presentation or another presentation. In other words, our perception is everything. How we perceive our reality and that which we choose to react to in this new spatial fluctuation, expansion, expression, so to speak. All right, so as I say this, I see nuclear reactor, and I've been writing about this for like 4 months now. If we're in a place of fear, we hear nuclear, and we think of fearful things. But what I'm seeing is I'm literally seeing a dragon right now. Seeing like a dragon lion in the clouds. Kur anda akar akur and akar akur te eshtakur andarahak ar akur. So I'm seeing this reference to we're going to hear certain things, and I'm being guided to share that some of the things that we hear or see there's code in them, but our perspective, how expansive our perspective is, basically is part of I'm seeing a sign right now for Boise, Idaho. Hey Jess, and there's an eagle on it, so anyways, Jess from Yothera, just a shout out there. That's cute. Kiki wahane amokune aude unkune de kiki waishtane amokune awahate nekiamoana. You guys, all right. So let's just say that there's a huge shift taking place. There are new energies coming in to help revive those that have needed a little extra support. Yet if we are in a place of fear, we do not necessarily recognize that's what's going on, that we're receiving support. We will accredit, is what I'm hearing, accredit these services, credit services, to the opposite of what they really represent. We may attribute them, pay tribute to. I'm hearing the inverted system. So I could go into 10 different things right now. First, I'll share, let me go backwards with what I'm seeing. There is, from an eagle eye perspective, an eagle sees and has a view of everything. They have the ability to hunt on land, over water, in the sky. And we're really being invited to expand our view. I'm seeing another eagle. I'm seeing lots of references to blue right now too, but because for so many reasons. What if we really wanted help and we asked for it and the beings that came to help us were all blue? What would we do? They're blue. Literally. They're all blue. They look blue. Some of us wouldn't care. We'd be like, sister, brother, I'm blue. But there would be some people who would be like, actually you're blue and that's weird. You're not normal. So I think you should go back where you came from. I could go on. And there's such a split right now between these different realities. And essentially, we're getting help. There's so many energies coming in right now that are assisting us. Even the stuff that's coming up that we're in resistance to. I had some resistance things come up this week. I had some things where I had to let go of the need to control a particular situation, even though I knew I was right. I got angry over it. I had a little bit of a reaction, right? I reacted. And that never works well for me anyways, because I come out sounding just really ridiculous. Which is perfect. Just how it needs to happen, right? Because we are in this space where we are being invited to hold space. And some people are going to trigger us, and we're human beings. But recognizing that we're all in a different place. And so some people are not ready to see these blue beings that are our brothers and sisters. And other people are. On the flip side, if somebody is ready to see them, they will. On another version of that particular reality or story, if some people might perceive these beings as bad or good. They're good because they're from another planet and our galactic brothers and sisters are smarter and better than we are. Or from another perspective, somebody might say, oh no, they're scary because blue beings are part of this planetary system and that planetary system is not good. Based on a paradigm that has been told and passed down through certain groups, which may or may not be correct, or may have been correct in a particular timeline that we are no longer part of. Therefore, those beings have shifted and are now helpers, whereas before they were perhaps not, from one perspective. They've shifted their roles. I could go on and on. So it really is about us being open, being in our hearts, having an eagle eye perspective through spirit. Eagle represents spirit. And when we go into our hearts and we connect our bodies and we embody our higher aspects, our highest selves, our higher self, our ancestral guidance, I'm hearing guidelines, our ancestral bloodlines that are within our DNA that are meant to be switched on. And as we activate this memory that is stored within us, that we have the capability of doing, we time travel. We travel out of time, and this is all a play on words. We travel into no time. We are in a space of co-creating or instant manifestation from one perspective, or we are creating outside of time. Therefore, we are creating timelessness because we are creating from no time or 0 point, which is timeless. And as we're doing this, we allow ourselves to reach through and into a deeper point of view that is timeless. Therefore, we are shape-shifting our reality structure, and we are creating from a place that is void of time. There is no time. I'm hearing there is no time like the present. That's all a play on words too. Unwrapping these presents, allowing ourselves to be in a higher state of presence, a higher awareness, stepping outside of the need to structurize, and this is a play on words too, everything. For quantum structure does not work in the way that we think it does. So we're coming into this spring, I'm hearing spring equinox. Spring equinox. Equalizing. I'm hearing don't forget to come up for air. Guys, when I do energy work, sometimes I burp, cough. Have you guys ever seen Green Mile? Whatever you believe about the actors in that show, but that movie's just a very well-written movie. I believe Stephen King wrote it, who was very awake in a shadow way. He was aware of both ends of the spectrum. Either way, John Coffey, that's what we do, blowing out that energy, moving it through, transmuting it, changing, shifting it. We don't have to hold on to it, guys. I digress. So we're in this multi-dimensional space, and the more we can create from a place of heart and compassion, and we have, I'm hearing the wherewithal, play on words, we are where we need to be, we are with all, we are aware with all of our, I'm hearing olfactory senses, but I'm also hearing just our senses. Like, we're then with all of our faculties. We're using all of our senses. And we're stepping out of driving behind a 666. We're stepping out of 666, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But what I am hearing is we are stepping out of the inverted matrix. It's already been done. The inversions and all of these, what I'm hearing is covert operations and conversions, right? False versions of reality. It's all, we are choosing by our response and our ability to respond and being in our heart space. And by the way, I want to share that if we fall out of that, we fall off the wagon once in a while, guys, we can get back on it as quickly as we believe we can. And then what we can do is go into no time and recreate the reality that we felt like we just screwed up, so to speak. But the reality that we just twisted, screw. So what I'm seeing is, for example, I had a little bit of a response with someone recently, and I didn't necessarily react. I was right to speak my truth. However, I didn't necessarily speak it in the most appropriate of ways. I didn't speak it as coherently from the heart as I could. And when I'm not in a place of coherence, what I'm trying to say comes out really jumbled. And I'm glad that it did, because I could have said some things that I really regretted that would have been true but not necessarily necessary to say. And that's something else to keep in mind right now, that we're really being invited to play with. Sometimes the truth needs to be spoken, but we don't necessarily need to be the ones in that moment to speak it when we're feeling triggered, right? So anyways, I went into meditation and I asked to clear that energy around that particular situation. I sent this particular person love and light, and I went into a place to heal that frequency, and I visualized going back into time in that moment of no time when I was in my heart and I was in the right place, and I changed it, the way that I responded. I changed it in that moment, and that's a whole other video, but I'm just being guided to share that experience with everybody, because we all have moments where we say things, and I didn't do anything outrageous, but for me, right, I've talked to so many people who are like, why do I have to be sunshine and rainbows all the time? I do one thing where I'm not up here, right, because that's where everybody's used to us being oftentimes, which is not a realistic place to be necessarily. And then when we're not here, people will trigger us because we feel like we're supposed to be there. We feel like it's expected of us, and that's another video in itself entirely too, because then that becomes ego, that becomes a belief system of our reality, right, that isn't necessarily true. It's something that we've placed upon ourselves. It's a belief, it's a paradigm that we feel like we have to fit into. It's a box. So these are all things just to kind of think about that I've been just playing around with in my reality. I've seen it working with others as well, and so it came up for me where I was able to then, so going back to that, we're being invited to be in our hearts and come from a place of compassion and be open and expansive and aware of what's going on from a place of holding space. But it isn't always going to be just that easy. It is work for some of us, and it's practice, right? Just like anything is practice until it becomes a habit. And every once in a while, we're going to break that habit as human beings and have an experience that maybe is out of our habit, and it's very obvious when it is. It feels very uncomfortable, and it then gives us an opportunity to really tune in to, why is this uncomfortable right now? Why doesn't this feel right? And then we know. So from my perspective, I didn't do anything outrageous. I just was a human and expressed my frustration over something that I had every right to express. However, the other aspect is I could have just let it go and meditated on it then, and that would have provided a different frequency around the situation. And had I have done that first, this other person may have come to their senses and come to me. And that's usually what happens. That doesn't mean I would have expected it to happen that way. If I was really in a place of coherence, I would have just let it go. And I would then be in a place of, it's resolved, it's done. And it would have just worked itself out. But because I responded, even though I felt like I needed to speak my truth from a way that I maybe wasn't 100% where it could have been, it's going to prolong the situation from one perspective. And it can, so we're all being invited to do this always. Look back at that eagle-eye perspective and really look at an overview and take that deep breath and go, if I respond in this way, if I follow this judgment, if I still feel this way about this particular person, place, thing, paradigm, what is this? How is this expansive? And if it's not expansive and it's not coming from a place of compassion, that's a really good opportunity for us to ask ourselves, well, where is it coming from? What does it feel like? And maybe I don't need it anymore. Maybe I can let that go. So this is a perfect opportunity in time for all of us to step out of time, to stop running towards something or away from something for our feeling of not enough time, not enough fill in the blanks. For as we run towards something or as we run away from something, we do not see where we stand in this moment. Therefore, we cannot take a stand from a place of purity, from a place of pure introspection, emotions, and frequency. And when we are in that space of creativity, of true creation in flow, in true receptivity, in true, I'm hearing in truth. It is difficult then to experience what we came here to experience. It is difficult then and that's one perspective, by the way, that's a linear, because we came here to experience everything, but it is difficult to recognize the higher experience and to recognize that which has been utilized perhaps in the past is no longer necessary for our process and our growth. For we have already grown, we have already out-expanded in this realm, and many of us have already, like I'm seeing everybody's wearing size 2 clothing and we're really in size 3 or whatever it might be. The shoes we have on are needing to be stretched, and they've been stretched to the limit. So stop walking in old shoes, get rid of them, go barefoot, let ourselves expand. The earth is expanding with you. So we are even being invited to get out of the old belief system that earth is falling apart, and that we are, so I'm being shown one of the paradigms there's always on TV, like the end of the world, when this asteroid hits, global warming, and I'm not knocking any of that as saying that that isn't happening or is happening, or there's a possibility of an asteroid hitting, or the earth is warming up. All of the planets are warming up from one perspective. Does that mean we should be littering and polluting and acting like Neanderthals? Although maybe Neanderthals weren't really as slow as we've been told that they are. Anyways, you get my point. So it is about stepping up. That isn't the eagle, that isn't the expansion, that isn't spirit. It's moving into the true, I'm hearing the true hierarchy. So the old idea of hierarchy is a level. Like, I'm better than this person is more powerful or valuable than this person, and that's hierarchy. But really, that word has been monopolized, is what I'm hearing. And it's recognizing that the true hierarchy is the higher arcing, the higher electricity, the arc in electricity, the true holding container in space, which is holy, the ark, our vessel, the true higher calling, the true higher key, which is our DNA, our genes, our key to, I'm hearing keys to compassion. So all of this is part of what we're being invited to recognize. That's the higher calling. That's the hierarchy, not this whole version based on a false pretense is what I'm hearing. It's false pretend, right? It's the old realm. It's the old versions of division, the old diversions, not divergence, which I need to watch that movie. I heard it's pretty good. But divisions, diversions, diversion tactics. And so this tactile commerce, I'm in flow, I'm just saying what's coming through. Tactile commerce, coercion, conversion, so it's like there's this element of energy that's trying to be, I'm hearing, get us to give up or relinquish our tactile senses. Lots of plays on words here. I'm hearing stop plugging into the senseless electronics. This is also a reference to right now, especially for this whole month. One of the things that could be really powerful for us to all do is to unplug. You know, unplug from the electronics, but it's not just the electronics, it's literally like the internet. Get off the phone, get off the TV, and get out with Mother Earth. however that needs to happen. It can be with crystals. It can be putting our feet in potted plants. If you're someplace it's too cold to go outside, it's getting snow, taking it, melting it, and adding it to your bathtub water. If you're in a place that has like clean snow and you're up in the mountains, obviously don't do that off of snow on the streets, but I think you get where I'm going with this. It's connecting to nature in order to nurture the expansive process that we are all in blooming right now. I'm hearing that we are in the process of blooming. So, for these coercion tactics, this tactile domination, this version of dominating the senses, only works if we allow it to. I'm being guided to play with that word. What are we allowing in our reality to change our, I'm hearing wordfare, warfare. So, big play on words there, right? What are we listening to? What words are we feeding ourselves? What are we allowing ourselves to be fed? That we are then believing, that we are then paying homage to. And again, when I say that, I say home age. We're paying homage to something. We're calling it this. I'm hearing this has to do with the old age. This has to do with aging ourselves and time. And I'm hearing take it back into our true home, which is our true inner source, our true inner self, our true inner light. Connect with Mother Nature. For we are a connection resource of source, receptacles, receptors. What I'm seeing is there's a whole host of networks that are coming online, that are opening up, that we are hosting, that Mother Earth is the host of, and we are essentially becoming more and more of this connection with this portal system. So it's really important to use our bodies as the electrical transmitters that we are. The electrical transmissions that we are, what I keep hearing, blooming, blossoming. This has reference to spring and flowers, of course, flower of life. Part of what we're experiencing is, I'm hearing, don't worry about falling off the wagon. This is what I had said earlier. Jump on the bandwagon, meaning get off the bandwagon that we've been told to be a part of. You don't have to be part of this club, whatever club that is. Jump off the bandwagon and jump into the bandwidth wagon. Recognize that everything is bandwidth, everything is electricity, everything is energy. And so again, it's back to our value system. What are we paying homage to? What is it that we are aging ourselves with? What is it that we are buying into that is creating a time based on the old time, the old timelines? So again, let's not keep these old timelines going if we're ready to move into the new world. We're already there. And I'm being guided to go back into what I was saying for my example, where I went into meditation and I went back. I'm going to do it again just because I feel like I should, and it feels good to me. It resonates with me. It feels good that I need to go in, and whether it's prayer or intention or ritual or meditation to go in and visualize things I'd like to change, but not in the sense of the old, like I want to fix this or fix that or change it. No, I'm just going to change my vibration around my memory, around my program of how something happened, and I'm going to feel and visualize into it, and I'm going to shift it. We can do that. We are creators. On a subtle level, I'm not saying that we can go back, and that's a whole other video. Well, Carrie, this happened. I can't go back and change that. There are some things that have happened that from one perspective cannot be changed in this now moment, in this lifetime, based on the vibration that we are holding, the frequency that we are holding, and the action that was taken that might have shifted that particular memory or past circumstance in such a way. And this is, again, I know I'm going quantum here, but in reality we can change it. But I'm just talking about basic stuff, relationships with people, conversations with people, circumstances. If all of us are focusing on a positive frame, so I, for example, am focusing on a person, I'm going to send them love and light. I'm going to visualize it being a positive outcome. I'm going to visualize and invite healing and gratitude and create from a place of spaciousness and allowing and just letting go. And that will change the reality based around that person. So now I will no longer be in that timeline where it wasn't that way. And neither will they from one perspective, because technically they're in my reality. That's my bubble. So when they enter back into my reality, if something is still out of alignment, I'm going to see why and what it is that I can do in order to shift that. So I'm trying to kind of paint a picture here. It's not about me changing and saying, well, I have to fix this. It's just about me changing my frequency, changing my intention, changing my dynamic around certain situations, and it's really all about heart coherence. Being in that space of gratitude, spaciousness, expansion, and connection to source. And if I go into that space, everything unfolds from that place, and I will be given another opportunity from one perspective or from one timeline to, I hear the word redeem myself, because a lot of people are looking for those opportunities, but that isn't it. Redemption is a completely different vibration than what we think it is, by the way. Redemption song. It will change the whole frequency around it, and it will be a completely different timeline. This doesn't mean, from another perspective, that people can just go out and be meanies and then be like, well, I'll just meditate on it later. That's a completely different dynamic, and that has an intention already. That intention is separate and completely different. When we when we intend to do something